Hey everybody, sorry for the delay. We had some technical difficulties on Facebook, but hey, I'm Regina Andler and it is time for Coffee with Regina. And I have my friend Michael Copeland here with me today. We're going to call him Cope because that's what he goes by. Thank you so much for being here today, Mike.
Yes, ma'am.
Cope, sorry. See, yeah, I'm
Thank
going to
you
do
much
that the whole
for
time,
the.
I'm guessing.
That's okay. That's okay. People call me a lot of things. Thank you for the chance and opportunity. I do want to just be transparent. Um, I'm suffering a little bit of a concussion symptoms. We've talked about it before, but I wanted to make sure that I was transparent with everyone. So I may take a little bit of time to speak on certain things. I appreciate the time, the format, and your patience.
You are going to do just fine today. We're just going to have a casual chat. And let me tell y'all about Cope for a minute here. He is the founder of Prosperity Rhino, and he helps overwhelmed solopreneurs and teams stop spinning their wheels and start scaling with clarity. He's leading a 90-day accelerator called the 10K Sprint currently. It's a hands-on, done-with-you program designed for service-based business owners that are stuck in that 2 to 7K a month, and you're ready to start scaling. You're ready to reclaim your time, clean up all those back-end systems, and start growing without getting burnt out. So he works mostly with coaches and consultants or freelancers who need better systems. They just know they need better systems, but they don't know where to start. He is a tech wizard. So we're going to chat about all kinds of things today about owning a business. So I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. Um, there are so many things you who say in the bio that just jumpstart my mind. In fact, one of the big things we're talking about right now is me specifically scaling down to scale wider.
That's an
So
interesting concept. Scale down to scale out.
yes, and we sometimes get into a little bit of a rut, and we talked about this earlier with the idea of over preparation, of over planning versus not planning or not having any preparation. We jump in, what am I going to do now? And we
Mm.
jump in and we say, hey, I'm going to make a t-shirt business. Hey, I'm going to do this. And then you start thinking, and I don't know about you right now, my mind is a little bit goofy, but I pull. And it's kind of like, what is it, minions? It's like a minion on coffee. I'm saying banana every 5 minutes and I'm just running. But the problem is two phases. One, you overplan and try to over deliver, or number two, you don't plan and you
Mm.
can't deliver. And now you get into a place where you're a solopreneur. Now you got 20 people you want to talk to, and what do? Are you set up for a group? Do you know how to set up for a group? Are you paying for stuff you don't even use because you thought you needed what? I had a lady come to me, well, I need a website. I'm like, do you even have a presence? Well, no, but I need a website. Paul.
That's a lot of some of that's actually old school thinking, because back in the day it was you kind of led with the website and all
Mhm.
that stuff, and the landscape has changed
Oh,
in the
yeah.
world
Oh,
out
yeah.
there as far as how the marketing works. And for most businesses, you don't even need a website. A website's really these days nothing more than a brochure. It's
Exactly.
Yeah, so
The big idea, and I'm gonna jump onto that because it's something I've talked a lot with business owners, doing lean or trying to figure out their social ideas. Like you say, there's some old school. Well, I'm not on social. Why? I'm not on Yelp. Why? You're a service-based business. I'm a plumber. I don't do those things. Okay, but why? Wholly, the idea is that people need to pay with the new currency. When we say this KLT, know, like, and trust, well, how is anyone going to know you? Well, you need to somehow post. How is anyone going to like you? Well, you need to be somewhat authentic. How is anyone going to trust you? You need to be intentional about what you say and you stand on it. There's so many times I got to tell people, fight me for this. This is something I'm going to die on. But But, and this is where lean comes in, I'm flexible enough to fail fast and understand and learn. And if you don't plan for it, you can't switch for it. If you can't switch for it, now your voice is lost and you sound like everybody else.
So you said this is where lean comes in?
For me, lean as a project management idea, lean as a business idea to start small, like we were talking about earlier with the small to grow. I'm focused now on this. I got 50 other things I can do in my business. I got 12 other products I have. Doesn't matter right now about those. We can talk about those later. What I want you to know is what I'm focused on helping you to do now. In the next 90 days, in the next 60 days. What's going to help you get there now? Because if I'm not focused, I got a whole bunch of stuff and it's just like noise, chaff.
Right. And you know, that's a big thing with people is that there's so much, especially as solopreneurs, there's just so much going on. And
Oh, yeah.
once you're out there as a solopreneur, everybody and their brother comes out of the woodwork going, oh, well, you need this and you need this and you need this and you need this. And it's really easy to get overwhelmed really quick if you don't pick that solo focus and just stay in your lane, because once you go outside of your lane, it's like it's like a mudslide coming at you where you're out of control.
Let's tail into that with the idea that now you're sold to. Because the algorithm, whether it's on your phone, your computer, your laptop, your tablet, your watch, doesn't matter, is listening to you. So when you're asking questions, it's looking for answers and solutions that you don't even have issues with, but it's telling you you need. There's so many newsletters you could get hooked up to, and 15 times later you'll get, wait a second, I wasn't talking about, yeah, you were. Alexa heard you. So it's really trying to focus in and pare down. I think I like that phrase. Pare down to what is your essential idea? How do we get that out? How do we get people to know, like, and trust you? And how do you make sure you're authentic all the time? Now, that's really weird now too, right? Where, and this is old school, there used to be a division between your business persona and your personal persona. It's not like that much anymore. You know?
Right.
So we get sold to as business owners where it's stuff we didn't even need for the business. And then we think we do.
It's so true. And it's easy to get sucked in, especially if you don't know. So you'll have somebody who will be like, oh, well, you need this for your business. If you're a solopreneur, you absolutely have to have this and you need to implement this like today. And you're like, okay, well, it kind of sounds important. Should I listen to this person? And you just don't know. But there's so many people out there that will capitalize on the fact that you don't know. So how do you suggest to, even mostly a lot of newbies that might be coming out, or either, starting a business or restarting a business to get back out there and start scaling, to stop listening to all of that noise and get focused? When you're working with people, how do you help them with that?
My quick and dirty is what comes first, right? It's almost like a backwards or inverse for like the 7 whys. Why are you in business? Who is it going to help? And so on and so forth. So we start really, really simple because we don't need to complicate this. So everything else, we're like horses in the parade. We put those blinders on. Let's talk about your priorities. Now, I'm going to lean on to project management because that's my nature. We start and talk about what the priorities are within a time-bound basis, a budgetary basis, and what's doable. If in the next 90 days you tell me, Cope, I want 2,000 more listeners. All right, that's doable. Cope, I want 10,000 more listeners. Well, that could be doable, but we got to track that time bound because it's not just 90 days now. Now we got to say, how much are you going to do per day? How many hours are you going to do it? But I think I need this. It doesn't matter because your numbers don't match. We got to start really, really small before we can get really big. Now, understand, one of my um, talents, I guess, I'll just call it that, is to catch the strategic idea. And when I say strategic, it's what's your dream?
Mm.
What do you want to do? But now we can chunk it down, and now we have to focus, but we can only focus if we know what's important. If we don't have that ugly conversation, guess what we have? I gotta
A
grab this. I
mess.
gotta grab this. I gotta grab this. I gotta, and it's worse because it's not just a mess. You get so tired that 1 hour takes you 3 hours to just recoup because you kept thinking you needed 15 other things. Well, I need 5 different mentors and 3 different coaches, and you may need that when you're making more than $100,000 a month. But if you're just trying to get up to 5K, stop, breaks, pause. What's important today? What's important tomorrow? Let's do this week by week, and let's be real. I always talk talk about like partnership ideas, right? Versus consultancy ideas, right? A
Mm.
consultant, you're going to pay the money and they're going to walk away. A partner says that we are keeping each other accountable. No, 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 no. You don't need this stuff. What did you do this week? And vice versa. Cope, what did you do this week? We need to play this priority, which starts with organization. We need to play this priority, which starts with time. We need to play this priority, which starts and ends with either responsibility or that big word they're using in business now, that buzzword, accountability. What did you do to move your needle? And if your needle didn't move, what are the little steps we can do to do it? But this is a problem. And this is one of the biggest mental blocks we have with either business owners or entrepreneurs is the mindset, right? Because we got to do it all,
Mhm.
you know? And if we got to do it all, that means everything's going to be on my shoulders. That means I don't know how to not lose. And hold on, if I didn't do this week, what can I do next week to get me back to where I want to be? Well, I'm behind. Not really. We just push the time out now because that's what's important. We don't look at all this other stuff because all that is noise, and you just get more and more stressed, more and more burnt out. I don't know about you. I've run 2 businesses into the ground because I couldn't do it all. And I had to come back, like we were saying, come back to the small things that made me do this business before I tried to scale back out because it got too much. And if I didn't have a plan, now everything falls like a house of cards.
Mm. And that is so true. And there's so many little sound bites right in there. Um, one of the things that you said, it's like, we want to do everything. It's we live in a microwave world where it's like, well, I just want to be making 10K a month like this month. And it's like, okay, well, it doesn't work that way. Can you make 10K this month? Yeah, you can, but you this stuff you got to do. And if you're that solopreneur who is listening to 5 different coaches, we used to say that in the tech world. I came from tech world too.
Mm-hmm.
Ask 5 different tech people the answer to a question and you get 5 different answers.
Yep.
So all you do when you have multiple coaches, especially when you're starting to scale and that kind of thing, you start, one coach is saying, yeah, do it this way. Another coach is saying, well, no, do it this way. No, do it this way. No, do it this way. Are there multiple ways to do it? Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
But you know what? You got to pick one. You got to pick a path. You got to pick a focus and run with that. Let it be successful. And then if you want to do something different, go do the next thing. But you need to put a
Exactly.
line in the sand before you start trying to go everywhere, because not only are you going to confuse and burn out yourself, you're going to confuse your followers and your listeners
Oh,
and
yeah.
your audience.
And nobody can like and trust you if you can't like and trust what you're doing. When you say pick a path and a line in the sand, it's a beautiful idea because now you know what you stand for. And if you know what you stand for, people can trust it. Now, if I got 15 things I'm standing for, which one is important for me to tell you that's important?
Exactly.
You get this idea of, but you're doing too much.
Yeah. And that's what so many, I've seen so many entrepreneurs do, is that they feel like they do need to take on everything. And they,
Mhm.
while if you're a solopreneur, yes, you put yourself in this position. Yes, you want to build your business, but
Mhm.
do you need to do it all yourself? No, there's support out there that for whatever it is that you need. If you
Well,
need a
not just
coach to help you with
support,
the business, go ahead.
not just support, there are systems and there are
Mhm.
systematic things to do. And I think a lot of us get backwards that we don't seek the system to do what we need to do. And I'm not talking about a project, a program, or whatever. It's just a bop, 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 a pathway. And
Mhm.
then we seek the support. But we get so well. I need to know how to do this. I'm going to outsource this to somebody else. Hold on, that's support before you even understand what the system is.
Exactly. If you don't know how to do it yourself, how are you going to give it to somebody else and expect them to do it the way you want it done?
But even worse, even if you know how to do it yourself, have you had anybody help you take good word, efficient look at if this makes sense?
Mhm.
Have you written it out? Does like I know people who did um they did operations, right? IT stuff. We do it like this. Okay, is that an idea of we've always done it like this? Or is there reasons why? Well, we have these four things behind that we can't get rid of because they don't make these parts anymore. Oh, so now that's a process that we have to do. When I'm a solopreneur and I'm running everything, I may not know the processes. I may not be able to speak it out. And if I don't sit down, prioritize, and write that out, you know what I get? I get more confusion. And it goes back
Exactly.
to what you said, and it's a really big thing. How can I expect you to know what I want if we never sat down and told you what I want? Because I can't tell you what the process is. And I can't seek help to fix the process if I don't know how to tell you what the process is. This is one of those things I'm going through right now with the brain idea because the processing is a big thing, right?
Yeah, it's a massive catch 22 if you get yourself caught into that loop,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. And the
um,
feedback loop is real too, ain't it?
mhm. Yeah, yeah. So that being said, so you have your systems in place, but I know you're also a tech guy, so you do the tech stuff. So when you're thinking about building a business, we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit here because I
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure we
Uh-huh.
work it in. Um, you know, and I am guilty of this, of having a subscription to this. It was the falling into that trap of, oh, well, you know what? You need this, you need this, you need this. Sign up for this, put this app in, put that app in, put this extension in, sign up for this program, sign up for this service. And, it's like that. Here in the US, we have commercials for this thing called Rocket Money, where
Oh yeah.
yeah, where it's like, get rid of unwanted subscriptions. Yeah, well,
Rocket
I
Money
probably need
and
to use
Nav.
that because I probably have a ton of subscriptions for stuff from my business that I've never even used.
Or worse, you paid for a class that you never looked at. Somebody had an evergreen course and you had videos, and I'll look at it later. And when do you really look at that? And now you didn't spend $60 for 6 months of something you never even used and probably don't even need at this point because you've moved so far past it because we didn't prioritize what you needed in the first place. Rocket Money is great. Nav I use to help me just, why am I spending $10 a month on this? I haven't used this since. And then you go, wait a second. $60 is a lot. Well, 60 times 5. You just spent $300 that you could have had coming into your business that you never used. You
Right.
just selected this, and now you're on 4 different email lists, 2 different newsletters, and you're getting stuff hitting you all day. And you're supposed to do what? Focus on your business. Yes, it's a big thing. It's a really big thing.
Yeah, because when you think about it, I mean, there's a core set of we'll just say tools for your
Mm-hmm.
business that you need. So every entrepreneur, especially if you're a coach or a consultant, there's a key set of base foundational tools that you need in order to
Mm-hmm.
run a business. And
Agreed.
then there's all this other stuff. And you said it, about the courses and stuff like that. I just signed up for 2 more courses. I signed up for them over a month ago. I haven't touched them yet. I keep getting emails for them, and I'm like, yeah, I should probably go look at that. I just spent money for it. we do that all the time because it's that shiny thing that's like, oh, that looks really
Oh,
interesting. I want to
FOMO.
go learn that.
Yep.
But then you're the solopreneur. When do you have time to go look at it? And unless you commit. So I personally, I'm still working on it. I'm still working on me. I'm a work in progress when it comes to that
Oh
stuff
yeah.
because I am a shiny course fan. It's like, oh, you got a course on that? Oh, that sounds really interesting. I'm going to sign up for it. Oh, you got a course on this? I'm going to sign up for it. And it's like, okay, you need to stop and focus and only sign up for something that you know you're going to actually watch and follow through with.
Man, if that ain't never true, if that is never true, I'm gonna tell you what I do, and I've told some people this when I was doing mentoring. You're from my generation, so you remember the phrase "stop, drop, and roll."
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So in my case, again, with the idea of prioritization or accountability, I'm gonna stop. Do I need this? Drop. Go to my logical mind. Roll. Am I going to use this in the next 6 months? If I'm not, then no, I don't need this. I'm going to not use it. Why am I collecting stuff? Because I want a library. For who? For what? And like you said, a lot of things right now move at light speed.
Mm-hmm.
But LLMs weren't a big thing, 10 years ago, and now you can't go without hearing about them, using them, or talk. Now, granted, AI, the big phrase, it's not just LLMs. Heck, I remember Sony used to have a chat bot back in 2003. So you can get questions answered before you start moving over to overseas, right? Ideally, though, if I ain't used it in 6 months, when I'm going to use it? And if I'm only supposed to be focusing on the things that move the needle, and big phrase, trusting my process so that people know who I am and I can trust what I'm doing so they can trust what they're doing, because confused people don't want to talk to confused people.
Right, exactly. And that is so true. And when you get yourself wrapped up into all these different things, that's what happens. You get confused. You don't sound like you know what you're talking about. And now your audience picks up on that. And exactly, you lose. If you even had the know, like, and trust to start with, you lose that trust. So they might know and like you, but you start losing their trust because now you're bouncing all over the place, and they're like, "Man, what is she up to? What actually does she do?" And because you're bouncing all over the place, so it is a key to be focused on one thing. And I know you do, and I do as well. Work with clients and teach them, focus on that one thing. You said it earlier, put the horse blinders on and stay in your lane and focus on that one thing. Let that be successful. And then
or and this is why I talk about lean. This is why let me know what fails. Fail quickly. And if it fails quickly, now I can move into another lane. You're never going to be stuck. Part of the thing that an entrepreneur can do is not ask for permission. You can say, this isn't working. Now I need to rejig. And now I need to either, recommit to something, or I need to move aside and do something that works. The biggest thing to understand is we don't have to be the smartest person in the room to speak with authority. We don't have to be the smartest person in the room to speak with confidence. But we do need to learn that we're human, and there's some things we don't need to know, but we need to focus on what we know, double down, continue going, and then look back and see where we are. I don't think a lot of us do that as solopreneurs. We run around, we hear so much stuff, and when I say stuff, there's a lot of words for it, but the biggest idea is you get led astray when what was your path to begin with? I think that's a big thing, right? Planning will be great, but you can't plan without progress. And if you got too much progress, now your plan goes to the wayside. You gotta balance out the idea of that path that you're doing versus where you're going. And like you say, did it succeed or did it fail? What am I doing next? Am I still in my lane?
Right. Right, because that's one of the big things for a lot of entrepreneurs is that they lose that focus. So, key takeaway from this conversation, this chat is, you know, if you're feeling like you're overwhelmed, you're burned out, you're struggling, chances are pretty good you're getting bombarded by all of that stuff, and it's time to stop and regroup. So,
Mhm.
if somebody is like that and they come to you, what do you suggest they start with? What's the process? So I come to you and I say, Cope, I have got stuff all over the place. I'm totally confused. I'm getting burnt out. Nobody even knows what I do. I'm not even sure if I know what I do
Okay.
anymore.
So let's stop and speak to you as the person. Let's stop and speak to your business as the business. Let me make sure I understand what you do and we can put that in context. Now we know who you are. Now we know what the business does. And now we can say, okay, in the next blank amount of time, what do you want to do? What is your budget? What is achievable in that amount of time? Because we're not trying to look for pie in the sky. We're trying to look for actionable goals. People call this SMART, right? SMART, not just intelligence, right? But we need to slow down, pause, and really, really start looking black and white about what it is. One of the biggest things I've had people come to me and they go, I don't even know anymore. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, pause. Let's start talking. Let's break it down. Now I got 5 ideas of who you are, 3 ideas of what you do. What do you want to focus on? Well, I want to do this, that, and the other. Give me one. And if you can't do one and we have to do hybrid, give me the priority for your hybrid. Right? People say, well, I want to make more money. I want more customers. I want to get my reach. I want to make. Pause. What's the most important? Well, if I don't have customers, I don't have money. If I don't have outreach, I don't have customers. So maybe outreach is first. If I have a lot of followers, does that equal customers? Are we looking at the numbers? Are we looking at the math? Do we understand the systems? And if we don't understand any of that, now we got to go back and really, really focus. It's that prioritization.
Right. And I mean, we're getting short on time here, believe it or not. Time goes quick when we have these conversations.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I know you have some help with this because you have a freebie here for our listeners today. Tell us about this 10K Prosperity Rhino. What do you have for us?
The freebie is talking about tech and doing an assessment. It's really where we just came from. Right? What are you doing? What are your goals for the next 90 days? How can you achieve those? And do you really need help? I think a lot of times that as a solopreneur, we're so much in the business that we can't look outside. We're so in the weeds, we can't figure it out. And it's always good to have a second check sometimes. That's what I'm offering as the start. Down to the way that if you want to make 10K because you're at 2K, or 5K. Let's get you a specific goal, idea, and strategy to get you
there. Yeah, that's very powerful too, because it's especially if you're in that spot and you're the solopreneur who thinks you have to do it all. First off, that's a fallacy. That's you can't do it all. You need to bring somebody in. You need an outside perspective, which is why you work with a coach or a consultant. You hire somebody like Cope to go, okay, well, where am I? What am I doing? Or, you hire somebody else or you bring somebody else in that can point out those things that you can't see yourself because you're too close to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or you lost your North Star. What's your compass? Do you have one? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then you go from there. So I know you've got a couple things here. I want to make sure as we're running out of time here, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that where to get a hold of you. So tell us about your LinkedIn and your LinkedIn presence out there.
I am on LinkedIn. I was posting every week. Due to my accident, I kind of slowed that down. I'm recommitting. recontextualizing and making sure that I'm working with all of the businesses and or business owners, that I'm working with all of my mentees, and then I'm working with my IT folks. Those are my three focuses. So I'm re-evaluating what I was doing and making sure it works.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So if you want to hook up with Cope out on LinkedIn, all of these links that I'm going to show you here, they're all going to actually be underneath this video. Once we're done, I'm going to post everything out there so you'll have access to everything. So you'll be able to find Cope in numerous places here. And tell us about your assessment call. What happens during your assessment call?
A half an hour. Let's talk about the big stuff first. Let's see where you are, what you want, what you need, and let's see if we can get you some type of pathway. After that, we can decide on what we want to do, if you want to work together or what have you. But it's a free call for you to try to get, and I won't say guidance because I don't know if I like that word, but for you to try to get a strategy around where you are with running so much.
Yeah, and that's powerful, because sometimes you just feel stuck and you just need that half hour of, that's what I needed.
And sometimes you just need a reflection. Yep.
Yeah, you need that person on the other side, to just show you or point out to you where you might not be seeing where you're stuck. You feel like you're stuck, and you start talking to Cope, or you talk to me, you talk to Cope, you talk to whoever, and somebody else looking at you, it's obvious to them where the issue is, where it's not obvious to you because you're so deep into it. So a half-hour call is a powerful time where you can go in and just say, you know what, I'm going to have this call, and that will be the starting point for me to focus on that one thing, and then start moving forward and figure out, what do I need from there? Do I need to go work with Cope? Do I need to go work with this program? Do I need to bring somebody in for this? Do I need to hire a VA? Where do I need to go? But it allows you to stop. Yeah, I love the stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah, there
analogy.
You go. I
really love that. It allows you to stop, drop, and roll.
But it also provides a mirror. I think that's one of the things that we don't always get, because our mirrors may be cracked or ugly at us because we're running too much, and we may need to just take a breath.
Yeah.
Take a look, figure out what we are, and focus in on our priorities.
That's very powerful. We are out of time here, Cope. Can you believe it?
Man, it went fast.
Right?
But it did.
We could talk about this stuff and go off on other little tangents like forever, because it's such a big conversation.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here. Contact me if you need me. But I appreciated the time. And more importantly, the mirror, right? I want to focus on what I do. So to be able to explain it and be clear is a beautiful thing.
I love that. That is a great sentiment to end on. And make sure that you check in under the video here. All of Cope's information will be posted underneath each one of the platforms on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube, where we are streaming live right now. And we will see you next time on Coffee with Regina.
Thank you
so much. Thank you, Cope.